A lot of high expectations about this team going into this grand final, but I don't think anyone would have had them as their first place, maybe like top 5, something like that. But they're absolutely dominating at the moment in terms of so many aspects of their gameplay. Of course, that Mythic Assault Rifle being so useful for them at their drop spot of Brawlers. And as you mentioned, Takata, they've been traveling so far the most out of any team in the lobby. So it seems like no matter what the zone is, they are finding success. My big question today, is that going to be a detrimental thing if they do end up pulling zone? Because we have seen teams struggling for surge when they do have zone on them. So a lot of questions to be answered today, and with an exciting lineup, I'm excited to see what happens.
I have a question about our second-placed duo, boys, because Cringe and Noms, they came 26th in Major number 1. They tried to go their separate ways before the semi-finals and find new duo partners, and now they've stuck together. They seem to have found a winning formula that is working for them. Miniminer.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there was a lot of hype about this duo after last Grands. I think going into last Grand Finals, people didn't really have this team on their radar. Now they most certainly are, and I think the main reason why, particularly from yesterday, is they're a team that are absolutely dominating off spawn. They have not lost off spawn yet. All of those early Storm Surge tags are working out in their favor, Takata, because they weren't below Surge once yesterday. They were 2 of 15 players that did not even see that Storm Surge below threshold. So I'm excited to see what they can do today.
It opens up the question, though, right? You said it yourself. They went 5-0. They basically got 2 elims off the start every single game, except the last match of day 1, where Jake Booker and his duo said, you know what? We lost 5-0. It might be time to switch up the drop spot, meaning Cringe and Noms now have Lavish Lair uncontested if no other duos decide to kind of join the mix. But if that's the case, no more elims off spawn, no more free Surge off spawn. So will they still be able to get enough damage?
That's an interesting question you raised, Takata. I want to throw up the leaderboard for now, though, because we need to see where Tayson and Veno are. As yesterday, during the pre-show, both Levin and Miniminer were predicting big things for this duo, but currently they're in 17th. Takata, have you got a theory as to what's going wrong?
It's interesting, right? Because this is a duo, veterans of the EU competitive space, that you would expect to be in first, second, third, a top 3 at least, right? But they've been having a lot of difficulty in the late game. Now, they're getting their Surge, they're getting their tags and everything they really need, but the issue is once they get to that late game, they're low on materials, they're low on loot, they don't have a lot of shields, they're using a lot of resources in the early and mid game to get those tags. Now they're getting them, but once they're there, Mini, they're having troubles in those late games.
Yeah, they are, and we spoke to Veno earlier on in the season, and he was highlighting how important and how difficult Surge is. I think that's not their problem. It's the end game where they're struggling. They're split. Look at this from Tayson, rotating to the left side of zone, then getting eliminated. But let's look at that from Veno's side of things. They just seem to be losing that synergy, that togetherness that we have seen glimpses of from this duo. You see that Veno went right side of that zone, Tayson went left. They're trying to find refreshes at the very last minute, and it's really not working out for them. I mean, in fact, yesterday, they only had 3 eliminations out of the entire, all the games after 9th zone. So that's not going to be enough eliminations and enough refreshes to keep them going later on in the game. So they got set up nicely yesterday. I want to see them go the full distance today.
Why are they splitting off, do you think, Miniminer? Is it because they individually think that what they think is best, and so they're just trying to do it?
Well, we saw it a little bit last season. They're both very talented players. They both know what they're doing. Sometimes maybe they think, right, this is the best way. No, this is the best way. And they both have really valid points almost when it comes to that. So we're seeing a little bit of a glimpse of that again this season. I hope they can fix it today, though, because if they're together, they can be very, very dangerous.
Miniminer, spoken like Switzerland, sitting on the fence, but I like it. I respect it very much. You know what I'm finding a bit difficult, though, at the moment is looking at the leaderboard and seeing where Vico and Pink are. Because when we think about the semi-finals, Vico and Pink, while they weren't picking up loads of victory royales, they were consistently making it to the endgame. In fact, Carter, I can't think of a single endgame that they were not present in. And now, thinking about yesterday, I can only really think about one. It's head scratching. I know Miniminer, you've got some theories. So actually, you know what? I'm going to come to you first and ask you what you think is going on here.
Yeah, well, this is a difficult situation for this duo because, of course, going into the grand finals, they had fishing nerfed from their drop spot, of course. The chains of Hades were removed. The fishing rods are far too slow. There's really no point in trying to fish. So that just completely takes out a lot of their loot and a lot of their flexibility off spawn. What we're seeing from them, we're seeing them try to W key Combeck and Blatcher for a little bit of Surge. We're seeing them trying to get tags from afar. We're seeing them trying to take different fights, even moving over towards Queasy and Thomas, and it's just not quite working out at the early game. We saw them getting rebooted and revived so many times yesterday, and look at this on the right side of the screen, 327 below going into this 5th zone to Carter. They haven't quite been able to sort out their early game.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they have the opposite issue from Tayson and Veno. If they're able to get to that end game, they're one of the most consistent duos in securing those refreshes, securing those eliminations in the last moments of the match, but they just can't make it. You said it yourself, early game, mid game, they are struggling to get those tags. They are struggling to get to the end game, but I want to see them there because once they make it to the end game, we know what they're capable of.
Yeah, we really are. I mean, I'm looking at their damage ratios as well, which basically deals with how much damage they're doing versus how much they're taking, and both of them are below a ratio of 1, which basically means they're taking more damage than they're putting out. That's in the bottom half of the lobby from yesterday. They need to fix that today.
It's almost unheard of for this duo. Let's hope they can figure it out. We're going to pop over, though, to our newly reunited duo of Levin and Jacob PR, because actually, I know they can explain to us why today is going to be more competitive than ever.
Absolutely. Yes, we can, Frankie. Today is a big day. It's the main event. It's the time everyone waits for in the season. Jacob, who can land that final knockout punch?
So you got one of your
cards.
Yeah, it really is. With how well
Who you got winning
Queasy and Vanya
FNCS?
have been doing, a 70-point lead here.
Who you got
Coming
winning
into day
FNCS?
2, I almost feel like it
that's
doesn't
hard.
really mean much because it takes
Yeah.
one
fact
mistake,
Cammy has
one
it,
slip
but
up,
honest-
and that
wait,
gap
who's-
will be closed. It's 100 points for
He
a
got
victory
first
out and
yesterday.
6 points per elimination. So you could easily have multiple 100-point
It really
games today.
depends.
I think what we
because
learned from Major
honestly-
One when we saw this format come into play was that you can't be too certain.
Let's see.
Not one bit.
Yeah, you cannot be at
Let's
all.
go to
Teams like
day
Queasy,
one.
Thomas, and
We
everybody
got-
else waiting in the rings. This is their chance to shine. But that's going to do
Bro.
it for me and Levin for now as we toss it back on over to Analyst to break down the rest of the day.
I was
Vanya
about to
could
say, but
possibly
now,
pull
Jacob,
it
I'm
off.
glad you added that addendum because
I
we
got
need you back to
Cammy
commentate
or
the games.
Vanya.
And we need to talk about Thomas
Cammy's
and
third.
Queasy because
And
they
Vanya,
missed out on the title in
first.
Major 1 by 1 point. And yesterday, they were so
Uh-uh.
consistent despite the fact
Manga
that
and Major 7 didn't call, right? They didn't call.
two other duos
I
in
don't
Mount
think so,
Olympus.
no.
Yeah, I mean, there's
I don't
3
think-
duos landing Mount Olympus, but
Alright,
Thomas and
I'm gonna go,
Queasy,
right?
they've been doing an
Alright, sounds
incredible
good,
job,
bro.
and it's because the work that they put in beforehand, the strategy that they've cooked up to compete today in the grand finals. So if we zoom in here to Mount Olympus, you can see all the duos that are contesting them. It's not an easy situation to get out of unless you're Thomas HD and Queasy. Now, what they've been doing in this early game is trying to get as many tags as possible, using the fact that there's so many duos here early on that they are looking for tags from afar. They're not directly going for box fights initially on these duos that are landing in the surrounding areas of Mount Olympus, but they're trying to get those tags as quickly as possible. And Mini, it's for their game plan later on.
Yeah, they're taking advantage of all the teams that are landing there contesting them. I know a lot of people would have thought they weren't going to do as well. They're placed in 5th place right now. I know a lot of particular maybe coaches in the scene didn't expect them to do as well as they're doing right now, but they're popping off, and this is the exact reason. They're getting that damage nice and early on. They're not taking those close range fights at their drop spot more often than not. They're not afraid to, but what we're seeing, they're actually going back inside of the storm. Once they get all that surge, all that damage, they have the flexibility to go back and use all of these static launch pads that are just dotted around their drop spot. They can then drop off at the Reckless Railways to get a little bit of loot, a little bit of extra metal. And of course, look at the way that they're going here. They're actually going almost away from the zone and more towards that dead side of zone, which we see so many teams in that position. They just don't see it coming, right? You see Queasy and Thomas here inside of the storm. Maki and Kiro have no idea and have rightfully no expectation of any team being side of that storm, and they can just take advantage and get even more tags to Carter when it comes to the actual rotation to the next zone. They're on
No
the
way, Alex. Oh yeah,
And
Oshi
it
is over
really
on
works
me.
so well. I mean, you can see
Alex
one of the
won.
factors now of them being contested by so
Oh,
many
yeah.
duos. and
Oh,
they're
wait, no,
kind of like in an
cumulative,
advantageous
cumulative.
position for their current
You have to
game
click
plan.
cumulative.
Yeah, it's
No,
really
Tinka
exciting
won
to
it.
see this
Tinka and
duo,
Danis.
especially
Alex and Worthy got
given the
second.
fact that they
You have to
are
click
not
the
shy of a
cumulative.
fight. We've got that 1.5 times
do you
multiplier
mean?
on points today. I think things are going to get
So,
exciting.
you know when you
It's
scroll
fun to
down
watch.
and you
Yeah,
see
they're not afraid
it
to
says
take these fights. I
it
think
will
they're
say
smart
on
enough
the
to
top of
understand
the
that, okay,
leaderboard
we
it'll
don't
say
necessarily need to go the full
options
distance. We don't need to
session
get all of the loot that's
cumulative
inside
and
that
then
fight, but we
epic
have the loot
ID,
already. But in
you
this
know,
example
like
right here, we
that.
see them fighting against Reveal and Reason.
Yeah,
They're
and
just backing off.
what
They're
you know
not
how
necessarily
sessions
going
is
off. They're
yellow?
going absolutely crazy
Yeah.
because we know the fighting ability of
Yeah,
the
you wanna
Reason.
click
They're gonna
on
be doing that. They're
cumulative.
just able to get so many
That's
more
right next
tags.
to it. Because Wait, that's who's the one? the session
Tinka and Danis.
Yeah, two played it. Hold on, who won in Brazil? Oh, no
The
one
one
yet.
in
No one yet.
where?
Who won
Oh
in Brazil?
yeah, EU is happening right now.
Oh yeah, who? I want to see who won in Asia.
Oh wait, I'm gonna watch a
I don't care about
fight.
these
Oh wait, do you
stupid
want me to share
ad
screen
breaks,
or?
bro?
Oh wait, are you on my Twitch theater?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh wait, Ollie. Okay.
I'm gonna join right now.
Yeah. Right now I'm watching Blackouts.
Why?
He's the least delayed in my Twitch theater. I'm pretty sure he has like only like half a minute of delay. Also, guys, you can kick out Pink if you want to. He's just reacting to FNCS. I'm gonna kick out Pinky you. All right.
Pinky, you dead.
Are you guys on stream or what?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I'm
watch
on
Cheaps.
Yeah,
whatever you say.
I'm on stream too. A lot of people still aren't in. I'm gonna watch some more
Turn
Blackouts.
everything to 936.
Yeah.
Wait, how old is Marie, bro? How old is?
Op mini is naar big.
What?
Was een mini? Heb je
I'm in the theater right now. I'm watching Raven.
You're watching who?
Raven.
Wat ervan, ja. Ja, is deze omgegaan.
Some people aren't even in yet. Oh wait, Cringe FNBR is about to be in. But yeah, I'd watch Blackouts if I were you guys. Fortnite's probably like second. Blackouts. The only bad thing, he speaks a different language.
Holy shit, my god.
Ja, tjus.
Oh, I'm watching
Komt er
Blackout.
ook eens iemand?
I can't get good
Yeah,
quality.
let's react together.
I'm
No,
sure.
you won't get good quality. You have to go in it. You have to be in it for a tiny bit. Like
Nou, het staat niet
for
op
me,
de
it's
bananen.
decent quality.
Ik heb al 2 bananen.
You know, I'm not even gonna watch up there. I'm just gonna watch.
I wonder if
the
he's
actual-
below or
I'm gonna go
above.
to-
I'm watching Blackouts.
Ik heb aansluit by the way.
I'm just gonna go
Yeah.
to Twitch and watch the Fortnite stream.
Honestly, we should all do that and react together because it's the same delay and stuff.
Just watch mine.
I'm watching Blackout. I'm watching Blackout.
No. When I went on your thing, I couldn't talk.
A quesadilla, and my favorite, the
What?
burrito.
You have to
You have to
put
try it
it
out.
put your speakers.
Yeah, in the event.
I think I'm the only
Because it's
person on
a
Earth who
stage.
still plays Witch's Broom.
You think so? Whatever game.
Hold up, I'm just gonna watch the Fortnite party. I don't really care anymore.
That's what I'm doing. You can watch my screen share if
Yeah.
you want.
No, when I watch, I'm fine. Alright, hold up.
Blackout's getting shot at. He's 17.
No, just switch to Fortnite. Switch to Fortnite.
Maybe not doing so here in game one.
Who do you guys think's gonna win that off spawn on Mount
Me
Olympus?
not, bro.
Doesn't seem the wisest.
Can I not what?
Yeah, and throughout the day yesterday, you saw this fight
Who?
kind of develop. You saw it kind of advance. Went from right out of the gates, players trying to go for surge, to things gradually slowing.
Oh, there's
down.
Cringe and Noms. They're in second right now.
Dynamic over on that side of the map.
W?
This one for sure. This is one I'm excited.
Yeah,
for.
they landed lavish, just like Clicks and Epic.
Not landing at Mount Olympus. It doesn't look like they've landed here at Lavish Lay either. So uncontested for Cringe and Noms today. Again, that changes the dynamic of how they have to play the game. They don't have that early damage
Oh, wait.
surge.
Veno in a fight?
So
Hey, what did you
from
stream on?
yesterday.
What do I stream on
It's just one of those
Twitch?
things that we were kind of talking
What?
about.
How do you
as
stream on
days
Twitch?
progress, people switch drops.
What?
It's kind of
Like,
play a
which screen
little
you talking to?
bingo, some would say, to see which
Oh,
way they're
OBS
gonna drop, as Venom looking
Studios.
like he's
OBS
getting
Studios?
aggressive right out of the gates.
Yeah.
Podesai and Snazy, unfortunately, does choose to disengage, and by looking at the minute,
Every time I stream on that, it shows just like a black screen.
or Venom's teammate anywhere. So
Oh no,
probably
you have to set
a
up.
couple
You have
of
to
those
click.
shots that
You have to like set up
disengage
like
back on
you have
up,
to
and as we
connect
see
your
the
mic
Venom,
to it, your
Tayson is
headset,
lost
set, your
already. So the struggle for
monitor.
Venom
You have
and
to
Tayson for the
connect
early
it.
game will continue
You have to
today.
connect a bunch of
Very
stuff
tough start.
to it.
This is not how Venom would have wanted to be going into game one, especially considering these guys ultimately have to have a big comeback.
Dude, I'm
day, right?
listening
A lot
to
of
top
expectations
100s
going into the
hip hop
weekend,
and
that these guys
rap
would be near the top of
and
the leaderboards.
art and
Hasn't quite
R&GB
panned out
or
that
something
way.
like that
Podesai and Snazy
in
will be
in
incredibly
2019.
motivated to continue to put a stain on this FNCS for Venom and Tayson. Yeah, they're fully just chasing. they don't want to give these guys a chance to get.
Nothing crazy has happened.
I mean,
Not at all.
I mean, Proto's kind of pressuring Veno, but nothing's happening.
Did you call him Veno?
No, judging by their loadout, lack of materials, there's only so far you can actually go.
No,
chase like
Casey Veno. His name's Veno.
You really don't get any
Veno.
even if you do get that elimination.
Veno, Venom,
So I do like
potato,
play for
potato.
them to
Come
kinda
on.
Disengage, backtrack in their steps, and finish leading up so they can have more
Malibuca, I got Malibuca and his duo winning.
Fibo and Valry.
Really? I did have them winning, but since their placement yesterday that wasn't the best. I think they might get top 5 or top 10, but
medallion and the shotgun.
yeah.
He knows just how powerful it can be for them in fights like this one.
Yeah, they have a huge low ground event disadvantage though. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
but day 2 has you can score one. There's a 1.5 times point multiplier in day 2, so.
Who do you guys winning on it? Who do you guys think winning on NA?
NA? Peter.
Very, very standard. They don't necessarily go 50-50.
That is everyone say Peter though.
He's winning by 120 right now in day 1. And there's still a whole nother day. And also, he's been dominating in the duo catch-ups.
But throughout the semifinals in general,
They got first almost every duo catch-up.
I'm not a big fan of them, but I feel like they're gonna win, sadly. Not really sadly, I mean, it's gonna be Beaterbot's second one ever since chapter, what was it? 3, season 3.
Look at the fighting prowess
I
of
kind of
Chicken
want
Team.
this one, kind
They
of.
pose a threat in box fights against anybody.
Yeah, I kind of want Clicks to win too, but his placement yesterday was terrible.
Yeah, like 16th, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he got like 16th.
When you're playing out
He
of
didn't make
position
the top
and
10
you're not
in a
contesting,
while. He got
you've got
first
to
in
be good for serve. You
semis.
have to roam out of your POI.
Yeah, he
That
got.
wasn't semis. That wasn't semis. That was
And
open.
that's exactly what they'll do here. Cringe and Noms are one of the better fighting teams.
It was all of week. It was week 2. It was all of week 2.
You kind of spoke on it and touched on it a little bit, and that's how you start to build
pretty
that
sure.
confidence. It's very, very
Here's
important
Cringe
for
and
teams and
Cringe
players
and
to be able to
Noms.
channel that momentum from day 1 and
Cringe and Noms
continue
actually
in
have
day
a
2.
big
I like
chance.
the idea because not only they're getting surge from fighting a team like Jake and
I mean,
Twan,
they
there's
play-
a potential
plays crazy.
hunger in this direction as well. Yes, some other teams might try to move in this direction, but
Actually,
at least
did
you're
Ben
able to
F. Did
team
he
early.
call?
You see nobody else
No.
on the minimap trying to
Did who?
Ben F. Did he call for some reason?
Ben?
Yeah.
And this is their green
I
light
don't
to
think
go.
so.
And these kind of mechanical errors can be the difference maker. If they go down now, again, they start looking
Stupid
at
ad.
the advantage they have in the leaderboard that starts dwindling away. But Cringe won't be thinking about that right now. He'll be thinking about how he can keep his team in the game.
Wait, what happened,
Really
Regal?
has only one decision. As soon as he went down, he knew he couldn't save him. So he just
Oh my gosh! Regal's hacking. Did you guys see that?
He's hacking.
Bro, did you guys see that?
He did. He just
quick scope headshotted somebody on height.
I got a question, guys. When did y'all get on the summer break?
On the 30th.
I get it onto summer break. Basically, this. No, it in a day, and we have half a day.
Oh, nice.
The Boo and Relvis did it.
I get out.
Yeah, we're about to be done.
Nice. Let's go.
Games.
I'm starting testing.
I
next
I think a lot of
week.
people questioned.
I get off today's Sunday, right?
It's favorable. I think yesterday.
Yeah, today
Yeah, I get off in Tuesday.
Nice.
W. Yo, my sister's birthday's on Tuesday, and I don't know how to do
So
it.
now it's time to see.
What grade
Nice,
are you
I
on?
will celebrate it.
Just keep getting zones, Jacob, and we're laughing at the end of the 12 games. Either
I'm in
way,
7.
they'll be prepared. And this fight is the first step to doing so. Trexer taking a big chunk of damage. And that's clearly
What grade are you in?
I am in 11th.
coming from Eclipse and
I'll be
Dexy,
back.
the third party in
I'm
the
making me
distance.
some food.
Yeah, we're from Rebels Roost. They're making their presence known.
No. Wait,
Knock
do you,
is coming
hold
in
up,
just
let me
now,
load
and they
this.
get the double elimination
do you-
as Eclipse
do you
persistence
do you
actually pays off.
stream
They got
on
Trexer as
Twitch,
well, but a whole nother team
Clouds?
I don't have a mic.
No.
Now moving in, kind of forcing a lot of displacement here out of this fight, where they once thought they were safe, where they once they were fighting another team.
That was like 10 HP. I hit him 90.
Another shot coming
90
in
white.
from the distance. To
Wait, you're playing?
Through so much right now.
What?
Things were looking so
You're
good
playing?
go.
Yeah, I'm playing FPS right now on EU.
And Relvis will be forced to watch this game.
Okay.
Yo, I'm getting double, bro. Leave
This
me
right now,
alone.
Jacob,
I'm solo doing
is
it
the
in rank.
biggest test for
Unreal
teams
rank.
you know, you would put in that sort of category of, oh, they're
I'm still
surprises
doing,
and
you know,
they're
an
much
Unreal
better
rank.
than expected.
I just
How
died.
do they respond to the adversity?
Holy shit, that double team.
A hitch in the road.
I got no scope.
Yeah, some ramen in the
I like the way you asked the
Hey,
question. It's easy to stay
Tayson is
positive,
definitely not
stay
winning.
confident when things are going well. But
Yeah, I
pick
feel like
yourself
Tayson
back
and
up
Venom
when
might
things
play side,
aren't
though.
necessarily going your way, and that's going to be the first
Vino.
test. I think
They
they're
might get
facing
top
all
10.
weekend because they're also one of the teams that didn't really have to deal with.
Yeah,
surges.
right now,
Especially with that
what
Oxford
place
fight.
were Veno? It was.
Why want Vino to get hit that snipe so bad?
Why?
Because he's literally, like, in the open.
Far away from fencing fields at that, so interesting decision enough for him
Hunter,
to only
full
get
box,
the reboot,
dead.
but for them to backtrack all the way back on over to fencing fields, and already with shots like that, it's paying off.
I think one of the key things I want to see
Especially with 2v1. He's not that guy.
is them sort of just pop off, frag out. Mini Miner was highlighting just a lack of refreshes, a lack of eliminations in the deeper stages of the game. I think some of their problems come from the earlier parts of the game, right? Mid-game, being able to get to end-game stacked, but we know what Veno can do when he's on his best. He's one of the most prolific fighters we've ever seen. Surprise, surprise. Vanyek and Swizzy here in the storm, using the wings to their benefit just to get around. I mean, this is a recipe for success we've seen a bunch of teams tap into, and it is definitely benefiting our first place team right now.
Yeah, and just the way players are able to kind of utilize it. Pause for a second on one thought. Cringe. Still looking like he's going through a battlefield, the one that kind of left over from Lavish Slayer, trying to scrap together whatever he can to continue to spread that distance. But I just wonder, does he even know that they're still kind of eyeing him? They're tracking him. Doesn't look like they're going to go after him this time around, so Cringe does have a legitimate chance to get Noms back into the game. But it's definitely not going to be easy because he's moving closer and closer in towards the zone to where a lot of the people that landed towards the north will end up in this position just like the players towards the east.
100%. A reboot's going to be hard to pull off here, though. You can see on the minimap all the teams sort of around. Jakey and Twy, I think, will probably be distracted by the bunker, but some of those other teams towards the west, they hear this reboot go off, they will be eagerly awaiting.
Lips. Oh.
Sangil and I was going to say Marius, but it looks like he's already taken down. Underworld not necessarily faring well for this duo so far on the day yesterday. They've had a ton of shines and shining moments to where you know they have what it takes to pop off. It's just continuously game after game in a contested drop like the Underworld. They haven't been able to put it together on a consistent basis. So I'm just hoping for day two, even though Marius is already down, Sangil, there's a lot of space for him in and around the Underworld for him to attempt the reboot and get his teammate back. I just want to see them start to pick up that pace that we know that they can achieve.
How much HD is?
And again, more of those storm plays. Analysts broke it down. This is what Queasy and Thomas are doing to just bypass mid games completely, Jacob. I mean, we're seeing a lot of these northern zones, northwestern zones. If you're a team like Thomas and Queasy, rotating all the way there from Mount Olympus, it's tough, right? You end up using a lot of materials, a lot of your shields to get by. So they've decided, yeah, we don't want to do all that. We're just going to stay in the storm, use the wings to get into better spots throughout the storm. We can go through POIs like this here in Reckless Railways and pick up some extra loot, some extra shields. We can cap our materials as well as we go by. And then we can get into, you know, 6th, 7th zone, stacked, all the mats in the world and still be up on Surge. I mean, it's pretty ingenious from them. I think the big thing was over the past week, Queasy has emphasized how he's just figured out how to play the game, right? A lot of their poor performances this season, he was sort of playing tournaments blind, didn't know what to do, but now they have a better idea, better understanding. Near miss there from Seti.
What's surprising enough, 288 points, how well Seti and Cammy are doing. it's sometimes they're in situations like this where you almost can count them out. Things look bleak, staying so far in zone, and even one of them down playing as a solo. But so far this weekend, they have shown so much adversity, so much resilience to come back from situations like this. And the reboot, and you were kind of mentioning Queasy and Thomas figuring things out, adapting, and I think that was one of the biggest things that a lot of teams have figured out, that we're not going to heal offs as consistent as we were before. So instead of being one of those teams where you have to get out of zone, you get on the congested edge, things don't work out for you, you're now able to stay in the zone much longer than you ever have from some of these seasons past, which gives them a lot more time to think and figure out these strategies. And you give teams like Queasy, Thomas, Seti, Cammy, the OGs, the more experienced players time to think. I think that is what's going to be the downfall for other players in the lobby today, when you give them opportunities, when you give them time.
100%. I think the big thing now, though, is that who's been hitting the VODs last night, right? If you went into them, you would be able to see what these guys are doing. If other teams decide to start playing Storm as well, which I think we may see, becomes, you know, less of an advantage, right? Now you're worried about someone being behind you while you're in the Storm, and it gets all messy. That's the beauty of the grand finals, right? The meta, the game, it evolves as we head through these 12 games. Cringe still kicking it here as a solo. Yeah, my suspicions are correct. It wasn't going to be as simple as picking up that reboot card. He's going to have to fight this one out solo. And the fight against Cheeps won't be easy. Cheeps never shies away from a box fight. Oh, do they know? They're wary of it. They place the wall before they go through.
Very, very careful. Great move by Crims, but he finally gets boxed off. One of the pathways is going to be cut off, but he's quickly thinking on the fly. And Cringe, the only downfall here is he hasn't really been able to get too many opportunities to get Surge, but the fact that he's been alive as a solo for so long, running around, playing a huge game of hide and seek where they finally find him on the other side. That's Cheeps and Turtle that land such a good first shot, but he's ready to start fighting back, no longer trying to run around and take the fight to Cheeps as he lands just another good shot, backing down his opponent, and he's making Cheeps and Turtle second guess. Is this a fight they want to start and finish, or is this a situation they want to run from, as Cringe once again lands a shot on the run?
Cringe is playing this phenomenally. He's really playing like someone who knows the POI, and they just ran out of patience. Cheeps and Turtle decided, okay, we need to just try pinch this guy. I'm tired of just trying to run at him. And when they go for the pinch, he realizes, okay, wait, they're both playing as solos. Let me try isolate a 1v1 and deal significant damage onto them, forces them back a bit.
Cammy goes down, but just by judging that Cammy even had a chance to go down, at least said he had a reboot opportunity. He got his teammate back, gave them a fighting chance, but that one is going to hurt. We talked about the 1.5 times multiplier. They are definitely one of the teams you look at have a consistent day. They started with 288 points in third place, so they can only go down from here. And that puts a lot more pressure on them in the last 5 games of the day for them to really pick up the aggression, pick up the pace, and try to figure out a way to get those eliminations. Joan Trulex, team that's just been progressively getting better. I think we all know what type of performance they had throughout the semifinals. Really waiting to the last moment to punch their ticket to Grands, but since then they have not looked back. Seems like a lot of their experience, a lot of their planning was to come into a set lobby just like this. They found at least one elimination so far. Even though Storm Surge is active, it's all about staying above that threshold. Whether it's by 300 or 1, you want to give yourself that chance to not have to just run around and put yourself into desperate situations looking for Storm Surge yourself. Glad to see that Noms is back in the game. Enough running around the map for Cringe. He's giving himself a chance now to bring this duo power back into the game, in which they've been using almost all weekend long to give themselves that second place.
I mean, you use the word power. I think that's generous, right? Well, how much power would they really have? Lack of materials, lack of loot. Down on Surge as well. They might just be easy pickings for any team that is sitting here on the edge of zone. They're going to have to really get creative to push themselves back into this game. You know, that lightning bolt in hand, I think Cringe might just have some interesting intentions here. Yeah, he's looking to cook up something. He has his eyes set on ruining someone's game, and it might just be Vico and Pinks.
Yeah, any damage is better than none. He actually lands that third and final Thunderbolt. About 80 shield, that's gonna get him above the threshold. And like I said, whether if it's 6 or 600, that's where you want to be, because instantly they fall below. Storm Surge activates, down goes Noms. Unfortunate circumstances for Cringe, because now he just needs a moment to breathe, an opportunity to put that DMR to use to try to get some shots at anybody rotating in.
And again, I don't want to harp on this, right? But that was the biggest question about them. Now, today, uncontested. How will they fare with Surge? And the first game isn't looking as sweet as it was yesterday, right? So either this becomes a reoccurring
I'll be back, chat.
problem for
Breakfast's
them,
probably done. I'll be
or
right
maybe
back.
just
Hold on.
a blip
Don't
in the
go
long 12
anywhere.
games we have. A replay of Malabuka here over towards Grim Gate. Fighting as he does best, takes down the other Cringe. But he's still playing this one as a solo. Mustache is down.
Isn't necessarily too bad of a situation, because while everybody else here is rotating the zone, trying to get their spot so they're not the last ones left, that's given a lot of space and a lot of freedom for Malabuka to actually go for the reboot or reposition with any of these launch pads on top of Rift Island to a reboot that he so chooses. As we tune on board first place, Swizzy, Vanya just going through a little bit of struggles here, getting targeted around the lobby. It does look like they're going to be able to hold their ground momentarily. 500 damage above that Storm Surge threshold. They really have nothing to worry about other than the rotations.
Yeah, and I've loved watching these guys play. So aggressive. A lot of the time it feels like watching what Malabuka and Mustache would be like if they decided to be a height team, right? And commit to that type of play style. Very ruthless, very forceful, but it works out.
I'll just toe tagging some players, just getting damaged any way that he can. And this is where you're going to see it really come into play. As this zone does move a little bit up those mountains, you see the flow berries, you see the Wings of Icarus, something that's been popularized so much this weekend. That's going to be the biggest tool in their tool belt, and it's been the biggest tool with the zones that they've had all 6 games yesterday in finding that success. Now Malabuka, we saw him already by himself. He was able to at least find one elimination, help in terms of Surge, and he lines up another snipe and another knock. So it's really up to him if he wants to go for it, because he's created so much space for himself and he's commanded so much respect, but only so much as how he instantly goes in, along with the help of Frizzy, to take down Malabuka and end the Mustache Malabuka run in game 1.
Back to the drawing board for those two. Benno and Tayson in a much less congested spot. Not the pressures of having a bunch of teams around them. They can just rotate towards zone relatively freely. But that doesn't mean that they are sitting in a better spot in the context of the game, because you can see here below on Surge, materials aren't incredibly strong. Could do with a bit more brick Venno, but the rest not too bad. He'll get some of that as he rotates his way on in. But where they're going to get their damage from becomes the question. Running towards congested, as they get towards the safe zone, there will be a bunch of teams awaiting them.
Yeah, there's not going to be too many opportunities. They might have to like choose up next to a team, box up, try to get damage that way. But any opportunity of players trying to dash and fly through the sky, they're going to take it. 61 below, which isn't a ton of damage, especially for a team like Venno and Tayson. And you wonder how they got in this situation. I think it's because Tayson going down early, leaving Venno to scramble around and try to get the reboot, wasted a ton of time in which they would normally use to get Surge.
Yeah, and Venno is so prolific with the sniper. Was one of the top snipers last season. Only has 1 shot left. And so we need to put it to good use. Lines it up. Doesn't quite connect onto Pixie. And that might just be
I had to make me some ramen, bro.
a sign of just how things have gone for them so far. So close, but yet so far when it needs to hit the mark. They have some shields they can use, but ultimately...
I'm gonna mute my mic while I eat, so I'll be right back,
start thinking of where do we get the damage. It only becomes a reoccurring problem.
Yeah, because even though 2 players need to go down before it deactivates now, Venno was hoping he wasn't going to be one of those 2. Big snipe. Tayson goes down immediately after. Great plays by Twy to really make that happen, because the hunted have now become the hunters in that situation.
And look what we have here. With Deal and Reason. One of the most prolific teams on their day in EU. Way above on Surge. And looking to try and have one of their classic big end games where they have high eliminations. 7 already in this game is not too shabby, especially with just how much more valuable the points are today. Maybe we can get a look into how they picked up one of those elims. Yeah. Taking down Swizzy, one of the top dogs. So that now makes this end game that much harder for Vanya.
It's like they're cooking up the perfect recipe in order to close the gap. You're getting a little bit more aggressive, getting those eliminations, and then you take down first place, or at least half of it, leaving Vanya by himself. You see him just bound to very little builds as well. The biggest thing is the little charges he does have left on those Wings of Icarus, and because he's done so much damage so early on with his duo at the time, he doesn't have to worry about Storm Surge, so he's not really making any risky peaks, or at least ones that he doesn't have to until he has to rotate. 7 eliminations for Vidal and Reason. They're primed up and ready to go, and this is a way to start off a comeback for an FNCS championship. Have a great start to the day, but Thomas is tagged up, trying to rotate forward along with Queasy. They're figuring out a way to make things work. You talked about their adaptability throughout the day on game 1 through 6. It's about figuring out how to mimic that here. While everybody else is hitting the vase, you got to make sure that you make it count yourself.
Chapintini not looking too bad at all. This might be the game for them to go up on height. They need a couple more materials though before they can really be comfortable up there. Thomas and Queasy won't have any high intentions with the loadouts they're working with right now. It's about trying to get a refresh, trying to get some materials that can keep them in this game that bit longer.
Team's hiding in the bush. They got a couple more big bush bombs as well, waiting for the last moment to where they use the wings yet again, and that gives them so much distance to cover. But Queasy gets lost, separated from Thomas. They saw him land in the bush. They're just firing aimlessly from above, forcing him all the way down low into the water, which is a little bit of a blessing in disguise, because now Thomas able to get those dashes, but without very many builds, forced to use the big bush bomb, and he is just jumping around the water, trying to stay alive and try to get as many extra placement points as he can.
He's found a bit of space, a bit of composure, but I don't know what he'll really be able to do with it. Such a dire situation. Players all around, and eventually Thomas will fall. It's for Strokey and Robin who have decided to take height in this game. And we'll see how they can use it.
Yeah, going up that mountain, that's going to give equal opportunity for anybody to Flowberry Fizz their way up. Bounce back for Vaniac on the zone. He's able to get the blessing of the elimination. He's just trying to survive the onslaught. What little builds that he was able to get instantly being poured out to try to protect himself. And once again, he is fresh out, 32 HP. He just needs seconds here, Levin, to pop the Flowberry Fizz to give himself a fighting chance.
When your teammate goes down at the start of the end game, a lot of the time, it looks like an impossible task to stay up. Vaniac has already done a great job to get here, but can he get any more? Can he hold on to that lead? Keep as many placement points as he can. He's running about on all these layers. Nobody's noticed him just yet. He's right next to Howley. They've gone out of that box. He's safe for just a couple more seconds here, Jacob.
Yeah, quickly crouches, trying to hide as much audio as possible, going through unnoticed. These placement points are huge with that point multipliers. Vaniac trying to keep that stranglehold over that first place. A couple more teams and players going down low on the low ground, but he has been finally spotted out by that high ground. But again, Levin, he's going through unnoticed.
This is an absolute masterclass of how to play hide and seek in a Fortnite endgame. I mean, he has survived for much longer than he should have been allowed to stay in this one. Finally gets chunked down a bit, and that's going to force him all the way onto low, but the dashes allow him to move around a bit quick. 9 HP will be his doom. He goes down. Vidal and Reason will be the ones to pick that one up.
And finally finish the job, because they're the ones who originally took down Swizzy as well, pushing themselves into a top 3 situation, already having 13 eliminations as a team. They're ready to seal the deal, make it 14 as Jastru gets taken down, but attacks from above. Reason finding some struggles. It's Fast Strokey, it's Robon dropping down at the perfect moment to take the game by storm.
They really capitalized on what was a chaotic endgame. The fighting at the end was so electric. They said we gotta get in on all that action, and they did it at the perfect time. Wow, Robin and for Strokey are always a threat on the height when it's available.
Nice.
We haven't seen them much so far this weekend, but they swoop here in game number 7.
And you got to give them all the credit in the world for that patience, not dropping down too early to join that mess on the low ground. They already knew they had it in the bag, and they just needed to seal the deal, in which they did with ease. And that's going to be huge. 1.5 times multiplier. The win alone was 100 points in itself.
I mean, again, when you're looking at that end game, Jacob, It was huge from Vidil and Reason below. The pop-off they had, but for Strokey was the one that put it to an end there for Reason and Vidil. He swooped in at just a perfect time, and they didn't even actually get that final elimination, right? It just sort of all fell into place for them. A big game for Robin and for Strokey, who are another team that is fighting their way back into this competition.
Yeah, and you got to give them a huge round of applause, because that is how you start to build that confidence. You start to build that momentum. There is still 5 more games left to play today, and you cannot fizzle out early.
Well, let's break down all that action and see how the leaderboard has already started to shake up. Frankie, what you got for us?
Well, I've got 2 very excited analysts, because what a way to kick off the final day of the second major of the year, boys.
Here.
And it was fantastic to see Robin and Fast Strokey taking that early high ground and managing to hold on to it so securely. They made it look kind of effortless to Carter.
Oh yeah, and this is going to be a huge booster for the momentum, even in terms of the leaderboard. They were in 11th place after the conclusion of day 1. Those 6 matches, they finished 11th. So now with the VR, alongside, I believe, the Elim record for Grand Finals EU, they're going to be flying.
Yeah, it was a really nicely played endgame from those guys. Of course, high ground was king for those guys there. And I think it's a little bit of a difference to what we saw yesterday. I think we saw a lot of teams trying to go up for it. We saw a lot of hype turnover. It seemed like in this game, not as many teams were really trying to fight for it. We had a lot of our big name teams as sort of solos. So I think it was a free sort of open door for these guys to take height. We've seen both of them on height before, particularly Roban on height in previous seasons, previous metas. So it's nice to see them getting back up there. 4 eliminations, not quite as much as they would have hoped for there, but the way that they were able to play this game, the way that they were able to get the day started to Carter, especially after finishing yesterday in 11th, is a really, really nice start indeed.
I'll do it like this.
I mean, you can see just securing the VR is more than enough points to make it happen. We didn't see a crazy play like we did today with the Wings of Icarus, but it was just calm, collected consistency from above. They didn't have any struggles holding that high ground, even if people were attempting to contest them. They shot from above, they rained from the clouds, and they came down victorious. Just one of those things.
Do you think that it was worth it to stay up on the high ground? Obviously, it was worth it from the perspective of a victory royale, but given how important elimination points are, do you think there needs to be a balance, mini-minor, of that Vidil and Reason elimination record, 14 elims to their name, second placement kind of play style, with that safer but secure play style of Robin and Fast Strokey?
I think for those guys, yeah, let's just play a height. Let's get off to a good start. It's not just eliminations that are worth 1.5x points. It is also placement points as well. But for Vidil and Reason on the complete other side of the coin, these guys are absolutely fragging out, right? Was it 15 eliminations maybe there at the end? Something along those lines?
14.
Absolutely. 14 eliminations. There we go. But that is absolutely incredible. It's exactly what we expect from this team as well, Takata. They're 2 incredible fighters. They have this pop-off potential. And what better time to start the day with a massive pop-off like that?
Yeah, I mean, if I have to pick and choose as well between a first place 4 elims or a second place 14 elims, you know, I'm going to pick the 14 eliminations, right? And you can see how that shifted the leaderboard as well. Vidil and Reason now in second place, and for Strokey Rabam 4th. Yesterday, Vidil was 10th, for Strokey was 11th. Now both of them in the top 5.
You can see, actually, yeah, Vidil and Reason went up 8 places, and Fast Strokey and Robber went up 7. So if they got one more elimination, they would probably be in that second place spot right now. Swizzy and Vaniac, though, we have to give massive props to Vaniac, because him and Swizzy, they were not shy in taking fights as we headed into the end game. Swizzy goes down. Vaniac was playing hide and seek with the rest of the lobby and managed to secure 4th for the team, Takata. It was such an incredible performance.
Yeah, I mean, it's what we talked about before. Even if they have hurdles, they overcome them, right? They had to travel the most distance yesterday, so even if today they have, you know, difficulties with Surge or whatever, they're able to do it. I mean, they manage it. They get to the end game and they get those points needed to maintain that consistency, and that's why it's making it look almost like NA right now with the difference between first and second place.
I mean, Vaniac, he always comes up with a solo clutch. I don't know how he does it. I don't know what he eats for breakfast, but every single grand finals, he always seems to have this one game where he clutches up. Usually gets a few more eliminations than he got in that last game, but just showing that this duo are on top for a very good reason, Frankie. They deserve to be there, because when things aren't going their way, they still have what it takes to get out of the situation.
They're making such fantastic judgments, boys, and it's really impressive to see. And yet again, also, we saw Queasy and Thomas managing to have a great rotation, managing to get into that end game. Unfortunately, Queasy flew too close to the sun. I'm going to say that quite a few times, I think, this weekend, as I have already, but, you know, got taken down trying to rotate. And Thomas, unfortunately, wasn't able to get eliminations, but it wasn't a bad start to their day 2 campaign, Mini.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, you saw them on the leaderboard right there. They're kind of treading water at the moment. They're not moving positions. They're not moving up. They're not moving down. And of course, with both players, or with Queasy going down early there, it made it difficult for both of them to actually make a decent end game out of this. The way that they were playing, though, that entire early game allowed them to get to that end game. As Levin mentioned on the cast, they're just bypassing that mid game. They don't need to try and fight teams, go for too much surge, as they get it all done early and then stay back in the storm. So I'm expecting to see lots more end games from this team. This is not the end for this duo when it comes to getting to end game, and I'm sure we'll get there and have a little bit more success in the future games.
I mean, 100%. But you even saw there, Thomas HD in 8th zone had 85 builds to work with. 9th zone, he had like 7, 6. So something, you know, clearly caused the difficulty there. But the positive factor is that they got to that end game initially with a good amount of materials. So if they can do that consistently, then I'm sure that they can get it done.
And Thomas, historically, he's always had a better day 2. So the fact that they didn't have a bad day 1, a very consistent day 1, should really be making Queasy a happy in-game leader right now. I'm curious to see what's going to happen to Cringe and Noms, though, as we head into game number 8, because Jake Booker and King Cringe, who they were farming for Surge yesterday, have changed their drop spot to Mount Olympus. And I do think it showed in Cringe and Noms' performance, especially as Noms went down early. So let's see if they have a better start to game number 8 as we head back to our casters. It is Jacob and Levin.
Thank you very much, Frankie.
Nothing scary about Energizer Ultimate Lithium, the #1 longest lasting AA battery.
What about Jim?
Jim doesn't need to know.
Feed your wild side, whatever that is.
Out if anybody could be that team with game number 2 starting now.
And again, everybody will have their eyes on how things evolve around the map. Will we see players start to switch things up? Will we see players continue their reign of aggression? Will we see another Northwestern zone? I mean, Swizzy and Vanya got to be thinking, come on, someone at Epic got to do us a favor here. They managed to...
I was going to say, I'm not sure them getting zone will help them as much as traveling, because the way they are moving through the zone, they get their early game surge with the teams that are around them, maybe even taking advantage of the triple contest at Mount Olympus, and then they are so late to rotate out that they avoid every single mid-game fight. That's going to allow them to stay alive as long as they have. So honestly, we're going to need somebody to notice Swizzy and Vanyak early if they have any attempt to take them out.
And this becomes interesting here. You see Queasy and Thomas landing towards the middle. Destru sort of landing on that south building. There's a bit of a switch up, right? Yesterday in the 6 games, Queasy and Thomas had more access to that building. And so we'll see if that maybe is a potential weakness in some of their early game plans over at Olympus. Marco and Asa not having the best of times here against Volko and Vortexes off spawn. Asa's already down, and that leaves Marco to run off and try to keep this game alive.
Yeah, I can only hope he gets the reboot card, because then he has the space to try to get the revive and get his teammate back into the game. Otherwise, he's gonna have to go right back into Volko and Vortexers as we move on over to Snooty Steps. A fight that we've seen kind of be touch and go throughout the day yesterday. Some of them 50-50 straight out of the gate, others being so prolonged that kind of both teams survive with very, very minimal surge, and it does look like Sky and Scroll are looking to just be a little bit more aggressive in this game. They want to try to get these early eliminations, get the 6 points per instead of 4, try to climb up the leaderboard, because 244 points, that's not a bad place to start the day.
Our game winners from game number 7 in the midst of a fight here. And it looks like one that they have quite some good control over. Wow, Robban is an absolute monster sometimes in box fights. And he makes sure not to overcook either, allows for Strokey to come in from behind and close things out. That's going to be some nice damage to start off this game.
Yeah, it's definitely going to help them be a little bit more smooth sailing, especially if they have to travel far for this next zone. Just jump back on board, Sky and Scroll. The tables have been turned. Sky seeming to be on the back foot. That's TwoSe on the other side that's looking to get a little bit more aggressive. That wasn't the original team that Sky and Scroll were actually fighting to start this game off. It was a third party. They wanted to interrupt it and really try to take advantage. Unfortunately enough, all they've really been able to do is separate Sky and Scroll, which if they could take advantage of this separation will be good. Otherwise, it looks like they have reunited.
TwoSe and Kami looking to try and get some early damage off, get a leg up in this fight. And again, just wary to make sure he keeps an advantage when it comes to the angles, doesn't want to overextend, give them anything to work with.
Very, very minimal angles, and you see them playing very, very careful. They know how contested that drop actually is, as Vidil just gets a huge beam on an opponent. That's Icy's traveling from Mount Olympus. He was trying to get out of that contested drop, ends up going against two heavy hitters today. They already made it far and showed some life in that last game, and they're looking to get 2 more eliminations. That's 12 more points, and this is how you close a gap.
And I mean, this just works so well for Reason and Vidil. I can't imagine Doom and Icelis are walking out of Mount Olympus with the most amazing of loot after claiming, what, 1 building? You know, it's probably not looking too good for them. So in most cases, Vidil and Reason will have a leg up in this fight. And on top of that, they are 2 of the better fighters in the region, which always helps, right?
Oh, it helps tenfold. Demands a lot of respect. Just knowing you're going against them might do things mentally to any experienced players, but Icy, nice job fighting back while being pressured, still being persistent, trying to push Vidil back more and more. Reason on the other side is just trying to accumulate that additional angle, close out options for their opponents, and take away the piece control. Vidil just kind of regrets peeking there just a little bit too soon, but Reason still having a whole fight on the other side. It doesn't look like anybody wants to let Vidil breathe that easy. And I think Reason's destruction on the other side is allowing him to create this space and heal up as much as possible.
Felt for a second there like Vidil could hear me. He was like, yeah, Devin, I am one of the best fighters. Let me just ego peek this guy and not worry about angles whatsoever, and it costs him. That Flowberry Fizz is going to have to be used.
Must makes you wonder what this will do mentally for a team like Doom and Ice, thinking they can leave an triple contested drop and try to find loot elsewhere, and then you run into a whole nother team. Might make them second guess the decision that fight for the loot, fight for Mount Olympus. You might have an easier road, but that's the mental games that Fortnite does to you, especially going up against a team like this who is consistently finding the angles to try to make you pay.
I've got to say, Doom and Icelis have definitely done much better to long this fight out than I would have expected.
Yeah.
Again, they themselves are just sticking close together, always ready with 2 shotguns out to try and capitalize on this.
I'm back, chat.
Vidil going for it again right there on our screens. It takes place. A trade now happens, and it's Doom versus Vidil. Doom has the advantage though.
My fault.
And so Vidil's going to try and get the up with some angles through some window peaks, trying to control this stair. And this really has gotten shaky for the Germans. Vidil though with some counter aggression again, just not letting go of this fight. He's trying to even the odds.
Just doing the best they can. You know, Reason's just on the other side of that build. It's like a game of chess between the two, and this is where you kind of play and toy with the idea of the revive. Doom took the bait, tried to go in onto Vidil, and he just sent him right back to the lobby.
And that is the difference between cold, calm, and collected Vidil versus Doom. I mean, even without the HP advantage, Vidil just never shook, never wavered in the moment. And that was a difference maker. Again, that fight went a bit longer than I think they both would have expected, but the outcome is the one they would have wanted.
And it might help Vidil and Reason just a little bit. Yes, they had to use extra resources. It got real dicey with Reason going down altogether, but now you got to imagine what that's doing to their overall surge, giving them a little bit more freedom. And plus, if that bunker does spawn next to them, they can even stay in and probably outlast a team like Queasy and Thomas. We've also seen contest a very, very similar bunker because they have the surge and Queasy and Thomas might not.
Ooh, we got some action over towards Lavish Lair. Noms in the midst of a fight here. And it's one that they look like they're going to be winning, yeah. Nicely closed out.
I think any team by now has to learn, if you're landing in and around Lavish Layer, they're uncontested, so they're going to look for that surge.
And again, a much easier fight than the one they tried to get onto Jakey and Twi last game. That damage could be the difference between them having a good mid game now compared to the shaky one they had in game number 7.
They start to slowly but surely build up that confidence. It's only one elimination, so they know somebody is a solo running around here. We know in the minimap it's probably that player moving towards the west, deep in his zone, that's trying to get his reboot, but they spot out a whole nother team. And this is where they have decisions. They're in zone, they're on the edge, not too many other teams in this distance. If they wanted to take the fight, ideally it would be isolated except for maybe one other team in the distance.
Ooh. Things got very messy here over at Snooty. Sky looking to pick up the pieces as Scroll is no longer here. The reboot will come off.
Yeah, and it's Tuz and Karmi that's in the distance. You got to imagine they had something to do about Scroll going down, and they got to start to hear this reboot as well. So even though they have to rotate to the zone themselves, they have the option to kind of take their time, stagger it out just a little bit, and try to gatekeep Scroll and Sky, try to double up on those eliminations. But from one side of the map to the other, you know how active a lobby like this can be, especially with so much on the line. Destu just trying to run, and that's the other side of that Mount Olympus.
All those Mount Olympus teams really struggling to get anything in these games. I mean, all of them looting up and leaving and running into teams who just do not want to play any games with them. And that'll be nice for Voltx and Cool, who did, again, much better than I think most people would have expected after day one.
See Storm Surge being a little bit later on. Yesterday we were seeing it sometimes in Zone 4, typically in Zone 5 throughout the weekend. It does look like we're going to get Zone 5 Storm Surge, so you do have some more time to kind of prepare. When that zone does hit and the Surge does activate it, we'll try to bring it down to about 60 players, but Voltiax and Psycho, they're just trying to be ahead of the game. They see Axe Force, they Cloudski boxed up on the side of a boat, and they think this could be a sign of weakness for them to try to engage on this.
Just backing up a bit. I was curious about how they would get their surge, right? Because Voltx and Cool landing sort of all the way in the bottom right of the map to the east of Brawlers Battlegrounds. If I'm being honest with you, Jacob, I did not expect to see any team doing well out of that spot. It's such a tough spot to play out of. But they've been doing very well from there.
Yeah, just kind of looking. They have a couple launch pads they can use, especially if they find a Flowberry Fizz to make the rotations a little bit easier. Very, very similar to Swizzy and
I got a
Vaniac,
question, chat. What is your favorite ramen?
It's Queasy and Thomas.
Is it chicken?
The only team that might be left in the game from Mount Olympus, and they haven't rotated far. That might have been the key in this game.
Yeah, and this zone is a bit different for them, right? They obviously pulled the zone, so they decided to base up here at Mount Olympus. And Thomas has actually taken the Mythic, right? We've not seen that at all from these guys. Actually opting to take down that Mount Olympus boss and pick up the Mythic DMR because, yeah, they want to do just this. They want to sit in this base and Thomas try and get tags from afar.
That'd be best case scenario as well, because as we saw, the two contested teams went different directions. One behind Mount Olympus, one just in front. Both of them already got taken down, which leaves a lot of flexibility as the Frizzy and Howley meet their maker, getting taken down by Pixie and Walks, not too far off from their original landing spot. And this is where they typically do get their Storm Surge. They like the third party around Classy Courts. They use the elevation from their split drop, try to get some early Storm Surge shots. And if they get enough damage, that's where they start to feel confidence to go in, finish a fight just like that. Even if it means staggering themselves as far as they have deep in the zone just to get their rotation.
Seti and Cammy, a shaky game one of the day. But here in game number 8, the second of day 2, things not looking too bad for them at all. Materials looking mighty fine for Cammy, and I'm sure similar for Seti as well. And they'll just keep rotating on towards the south here on this dead side of the zone. pad here as well that they can use, combining that with the fizz to get towards brawlers. In a lot of the games yesterday, they're actually breaking that pad, stopping anybody else from using it, Jacob. So we'll see if they actually do that again here once they've landed.
Yeah, they've always been kind of known taking the slow rotations towards the outskirts. And because of where they drop, even though there's not a full-on contested fight, there is a couple other players landing in split drops around them that allows them to get very, very minimal but surge damage for positioning just like this. And since they know that the zone is moving from the west all the way towards the eastern side, they're banking on players making a very, very similar rotation as them, whether they use the water or other launch pads to try to get a least congested side.
Well, I mean, yeah, even if you just look at how they're playing dead side, right? They must have a lot of surge. They must have done a lot of damage already to be that confident to sit in the bush where nobody else is going to be. Polar opposite situations for Mappy and Kiro right there. In the storm, running in towards probably congested side of the zone. Not as comfortable of a spot.
Almost a scary stat. From start to finish, they're finishing their fights in less than 56 seconds exact. Which goes to show to me they're not fighting any fight unless they're 100% sure of these scenarios. Probably leading in damage to kind of start a lot of those ones off. And even though they're in zone, they don't got far to go, and there's not too many players contesting this side of the map, or at least for now. You can see a couple of them floating in from the distance deep into zone. Others trying to make that slow rotation. And this is why we talked about VOD reviewing the games after the day. And you're seeing a lot more teams having that risk, or at least taking it overall, of rotating very, very slow towards the zone, avoiding a ton of those mid-game fights. So that way, when you finally do make it in, even if you are down on surge, there's going to be ample opportunity of a lot of teams boxed up next to each other where you can kind of get it for yourself. TrueLex and Chicho is a team that kind of made a lot of those surge towers popular, building them so high in the sky. And they're even one of the teams that kind of made thunderbolting Zeus's on some of those bases, and that's how they also get their damage, by the fall damage and destructing those bases.
Oh my goodness, look how many players here are playing off of this island. Not just the ones on the island, but the ones beneath it, playing underneath rifts. I mean, when it comes time for zone to ball, we are going to see about 10 teams just gliding through the sky here. And I understand it, right? When you are one of these teams, when you get a far pull, how do you traverse through the mid game, right? It can be incredibly difficult if you don't opt to play for the island. Good to see our boys Mustache and Malabuka here together as a duo, looking to be one of the first teams to move. And you see initially there, it means they're the first team to have people take shots, but quickly able to dodge those and get in ahead of the rest. And you can just hear that sound of the riffs, the never-ending riffs. How many players are in the sky?
I want to say that the 73 players a lot, probably at least 45 players just rifting, launch pads, dashing around the sky, and I like the timing, Malabuka and Mustache, because the zone hadn't moved just yet, but it was so close to moving that when they were in the air and teams were taking those shots, the zone had finally forced those teams to either make the decision, do I take damage from surge, or do I continue to try to get surge and make a late rotation over, which has been the cause for Malabuka and Mustache here on this rotation, for them to find as much success as they have in positioning and taking very, very minimal damage.
Again, just spaced up, just off the, a bit ahead of the edge of the storm. It means they stay in a position where they can deal some damage onto those teams on the edge. Still need some damage for Surge. Same here for Banyak and Swizzy. Again, this is another big test for this team in terms of
the video
zones.
I don't have it anymore.
Aren't far.
Go to recycle bin.
They've been incredibly successful when they have to travel all the way across the map, but this time
hit windows.
we're here in this sort of brawlers area.
Because I want the video. No.
We saw Cammy and Seti rotate too.
Oh man, I
10 minutes ago, trying to be the first ones there, and the spot they've picked They're literally in the center of the zone, but you got to know with a zone like this, with more of a half of the map on the south side, we got to have some sort of a northern pull, maybe even towards the west if it does become drastic, going off the island into another island. But a lot of the teams need to start collecting this information and preparing accordingly, because you don't want to be the last one to start to rotate in a zone that goes up or down any one of these mountains.
Surprise, surprise, Cammy and Seti separated from the rest of the lobby here. I mean, they're just always in great positions in 6th zone. The game just looks so simple for them, Jacob. I mean, they make it look easy. I promise you it isn't, otherwise everybody would do it.
And it's surprising that we mentioned how early the team of Seti and Cammy rotate in that position, that we talked about they have to have allotted surge for that to be a possibility for it to work out. Zones later, they're still 160 above that damage threshold. They're making sure that every part of their plan is intact. Squeezy and Thomas looking onto the distance, and you're seeing that mythic DMR just causing so much havoc. The backside of zone, shields cracking. You can see them adding so much to their totals when it comes to Storm Surge before it finally turns off, and at least that gives them a goal line of where they're at if it does turn on again.
I mean, the pullback was perfect for Cringe and Noms, but unfortunately Noms being down means that they aren't going to be able to make use of this favorable zone pull. And in fact, Cringe is just going to start getting lobby sprayed. Yeah, a bunch of different teams now taking shots at him. Fortunately, none of them were using water bending. Would have been even worse.
That would have been easy to get some of those shots through, but I think they found a lot of success here, not only getting some of that damage, but look at the builds. He's expended almost every last ounce, every piece. Doesn't matter what he finds from here on out, because it does look like he's getting targeted by Sato and Cringe and Noms. The day 2 struggles will continue as they go down. Jump on board Robon and Axe Force. Starting the day off spectacular with a big win. And a win to where they only really had to be patient. Let the players down low, take each other out, and they could just slide smoothly into a win, bumping up to about 333 points, especially thanks to some of those eliminations and 2 teams going down worth of placement so far. And you kind of look at the leaderboard there on the side, that placement points have just now begun to set in. So going down here at this stage of the game with how much you've played so far would be a nightmare.
I'm really excited to see this end game for Vanac and Swizzy. I mean, this is the kind of game where they can really start to build up a lead. I mean, with Reason and Vidil being on and in this game and looking strong, they'll still stay behind, but ultimately Vanac and Swizzy are continuing to just make consistent end games. And if they can keep doing that, Jacob, it will be hard for anyone to catch up.
Almost impossible. So this is almost the stage of the game that you'd want a team like Swizzy and Vanya to go down. That way you can try to maximize the amount of point differential that you're going to get. As Kirwan Hedra, 41 below the damage threshold, currently ticking. Every 7 or so seconds, they're going to take 25 shield or HP damage until Storm Surge either deactivates with 3 players going down, or they get above the threshold, which it's not going to be the easiest thing, as they're slowly but surely falling further and further below that threshold, giving them less and less of a chance of surviving it.
This is a really tough spot to be in, yeah. Try to get some shots off when players rotating, but lack of players around them makes it really hard. CZB and Nathan come strolling through, but they ain't got the HP to fight yet. They will just get taken out. Kerwin doing his best to fight with that banana pops. And the Navala might get some free loot here as a result of that one. And look who's posturing for height, Jacob. Okay, Cammy and Seti. We've been bigging them up this game because the setup just looks so perfect from the mid game. And they are just barely above Surge, but sitting here on top of height means they'll get opportunities to deal that damage. Yeah, see right there. Finna Navala coming through. They'll be able to get some tags off on that if possible. Mustache and Alabuka down there as well. They gotta be careful. Alabuka actually getting taken down.
Man, because of where the actual landscape is, players are going to have to choose to go in between crevices, in between mountains. So there's going to be few and few people as this zone continues that will be able to look up and try to contest a team like Seti and Cammy. But there is one right here, Swizzy and Vaniac, that I feel like have everything in their arsenal ready to contest, but with how well they've been playing so far on a consistent basis, just kind of going through from one zone to the next, using the wings, combining it with the Flowberry Fizz that can cover so much distance like this, making the rotations was the easiest in the lobby so far.
What a rotation. That was super clean. The wings get them into a nice spot. And again now, gives them an opportunity to build that top out, maybe find some opportunities for refreshes. Reason and Vidil again eagerly looking around for players to capitalize on as well, and I think they've spotted some potential targets. Vidil again being his aggressive self, just dropped down onto the wall instantly. Reason urging him to come back up.
Just on the side of the mountain, everybody just trying to sprinkle and waterfall down, recycle as many of the builds as possible, because you see almost everybody is running thin on those materials, and as soon as Robot goes for a little bit of a peek, tries to make a play, he instantly regrets it. That was Vaniac and Swizzy who start to aggress on that situation. A lot of damage being dealt. They're looking for the elimination, but things turn sideways. Swizzy dropped down to 47 HP until he's eventually knocked down altogether. You see him instantly passing on over those resources because he knows Vaniac cannot be the hero and save the day, at least not for now.
And we praise them for their aggressive play style, but that is sometimes how it goes for you. You can overheat, you can overcook. And so now we're in another game watching to see whether or not Vaniac can get another solo clutch.
These are the moments right here that a champion is made in Vaniac, to where he's just outlasting these solo points, where this is an opportunity for everybody to really pick up the pace and try to close the gap. Vidil goes down. Reason is hunting for eliminations, trying to get the resources, even if it means staggering himself back in the outside of zone.
Yeah, Reason doing his best now to clutch up. And I mean, it's a nice spot for him to be in as he gets up the hill. A lot of players still down there. Oh my goodness, yeah. No solo clutch for Vaniac. You'll be Cammy and Seti to take him out. Queasy left alone with no HP, and he will eventually fall as well. Everyone just dropping like flies. And Seti and Cammy are the real beneficiaries of this one. The zone pool was perfect for them to just sit above as everyone scrambles up this hill. Mappy, another solo that gets taken down. And it's finally a game where Veno and Tayson look like maybe they can squeeze some good points out of this one.
Yeah, it's the top 10 where you get half of the points. It's the top 5 where you get 75% or more of those points. So everybody here in this game is just making every single second worth it, especially Seti and Cammy on the high ground. Even without the water bending, they're putting down an immense amount of pressure, forcing everybody down here to interact with one another instead of looking up.
Loving what I'm seeing here from Tayson and Veno. A nice find. And those materials will just keep them pushing, right? The goal is to get to the 2v2 situation and then try and beat Seti and Cammy out on height. But they got to start clearing out some more of these solos here, and we are at that stage, we are at that moment. Seti, Cammy versus Veno and Tayson. Who will be able to find the finishing blows?
Cammy's just not scared. He's ready to drop down, forward, in and out of the zone, but there's a lot of space being commanded by Venom and Tayson on the low ground. But the inevitable will happen. These two teams will drop down low, but Cammy, he's taking most of the damage. Great shots by Veno, and he finally seals the deal, taking down Cammy, but he's in a 1v1. Tayson gets traded out, but easy peasy for Veno as he closes out the game.
Veno has been in many 1v2s against Seti and Cammy. He knows that feeling. He's been here before, and he won't let that moment pass him by again. A big win, a statement win for Veno and Tayson.
Wow.
That is how you really pick up the pace and start to build that momentum. And it was you, it was Minnie, it was Frankie on the desk talking about, do we press the panic button? How early is too early? Well, Veno, he probably went over to your house, he heard you talking, he took that panic button, he threw it right out the window. He said, not in this major, no panic button for us.
I mean, that is huge for them, right? Talking to Veno before the competition today, he did not sound in high spirits, right? He was starting to feel quite down about the situation that they are facing. And it's good to see here in game 8, they get the right cards dealt to them and they play the game perfectly. A big win here for Veno and Tayson. And surely now, again, that keeps them fighting in this competition, Jacob. And that's what day 2 is about. Can you have that pop-off game that pushes you into the top 10?
Yeah, it is going to be huge because that was over 150 or so point game for them, moving up the ranks of that leaderboard. But let's throw it on over to Analyst because there was so much action to break down after that game.
There really was, and there was a classic finish. Who doesn't love seeing Veno taking on Cammy and Seti, given the history between...
I'm done watching that, bro. NA is gonna be a different story, bro. If Acorn wins, I'll be actually like, wow. I kind of want Acorn and Code to win. Show more, NVIDIA control panel. I want something not too like, I want something that actually looks good, not something that looks, you know, not good, you know? Bro, I ain't be. Dude, my screen is so stretched, chat. Look. Look. Look, I'm not even trolling. Nah, actually, wait, look. Oh, it doesn't show for you. But this is 1920. Dude, my screen is more than stretched, dog. Like, my screen. Oh my gosh. Yo. I'm trying new stretch res. This is 19. This is something I can't even remember. Oh, sweet mother of pearl. Bro, I'm about to be yo, what's up, Park? Yo, I'm trying out a new stretch res, bro. Let's see. It's the same thing. Alright, so this doesn't really look different. Alright. What if I put it on full screen? Hold on, I'm gonna go over to... I'm just gonna go into here, put it on private, see if it looks any different. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I'm gonna, because I play on an ultra wide screen, chat, alright? So I play on ultra wide screen. My screen is like 3400 with, I think, 1080, somewhere around there. It doesn't really look different. I mean, it's wider, yeah, sure. Oh, never mind, I feel the difference. I see the difference. I see a difference. Yeah, I see a difference. A little. I can see a slight difference, like, not like a mad amount. Should I, which one should I do? I don't even know, bro. Because that's native. That's like the native res. Alright? So what I'm gonna do this. Because you can't see a difference, but I can see a difference. Play 1720. Am I blind? 1720 by 1080. What does this look like? I'm scared. Like, it doesn't even use the whole screen. I'm not even trolling. It doesn't use the whole screen. Alright, what do? I will call you, Park. I don't even see you. Yeah, there you are. Do I have to do it customized?
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Screen share your full screen on Discord. I got you.
Yep.
Yeah, you have to make a custom resolution. That's why your stretch isn't working.
That makes more sense.
Because it's technically not stretched.
No, see, look, this is my max. This is my max. That's how stretched my screen
Oh, you
is.
have a big monitor. Alright, put it on native. Put it on native. For now.
Native? This?
Yeah, that. Yeah. The third.
The
No, no,
1080?
no. Go down, go down. That's native. Do you know what refresh rate your monitor is?
My refresh rate?
Yeah, like on your monitor.
No.
Do you know your hertz? What's your hertz?
75.
75 hertz? Okay, so you can overclock it to like
I'm not
77.
overclocking it. I don't really. It's not a big of a deal to me.
Okay, now, okay. Oh, your screen is like. Okay,
Right.
put it on something where it's not as wide because the screen share on Discord makes it to where I can't even read anything.
Do the 19.
Not those. Don't use any of those ever. Put it on 260. You see the 240? Yep, that. Put it on that. That's my native. Okay.
Why do I
Now
have yellow bars?
Okay. Yeah, it's okay, chill. Go scroll down. Not in that, just in the general, the whole thing.
What?
Scroll down. Not in the box though. Like scroll down on the outside of the box. Customize. Press customize. Okay. Press at the bottom. Create custom resolution, and then also you gotta enable. Okay. Put 1720 right there. Okay, and now vertical 1080. 1080. Oh,
Yeah,
is that 1080? Oh,
1080.
my fault.
Yeah, it's 1080.
Refresh rate? You said it's 70.
Yeah, 75.
Five?
75.
Put 76. Okay. You're good. Press test, and then it'll say apply. That's stretch res. Press yes.
I can't see my screen right now. No, I can't. There we go.
Is it like blurry, your screen?
It's like going in and out.
Okay, now you gotta select that. Press OK.
I can't see my screen.
Press
One
OK
second.
at the
Hold
bottom. Okay.
There.
Okay, now scroll to the top, custom, select it, and then use it. Press yes.
Now I got
Okay,
black bars
is your
on my
screen like blurry?
I got black bars on the sides.
Okay, now that means, okay, go to adjust desktop size and position. Put full screen. Scroll down. Did that change it?
Yeah.
It did? You don't have the black bars?
Nope. Dang,
Is it
that's
stretched?
neat.
It's like blurry?
It's very stretched.
Yeah.
How do I
well,
fix the yellow lines?
I don't know. That happens to me sometimes too. Maybe restart your PC. It shouldn't. Yeah, you're good. You're good. It shouldn't happen again though. Next time you use it.
Let's see. And then that's nice. Cause see the videos that I watched, right?
Yeah.
It was saying go into the actual game files, which I'm not doing.
Nah, you don't gotta do all that. No, yeah, that's the Isjarian one. Did you watch that one?
No.
Okay, that's how you used to have to do stretch res, but you can do it different now.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I watched the Isjarian video, and yeah, doing the game files, I did it the same way, but it's way easier, which is just that.
Yeah,
that's the res
neat.
that's the res that I play if I do stretch. I'm on native.
Yeah, I
right
got
now.
this ultra, bro. My screen is going to be so freaking stretched.
Yeah,
I'm
and make sure
scared.
in Fortnite you have it as windowed full screen.
Yeah, no, will do. Let's see how this looks, and if I want it a little bit more stretched, I can. I mean, crap. Woof! Just windowed. Oh my god.
Is it stretch?
Oh my god. It's so stretched just on windowed.
Okay, let me make sure your stream is good.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. Now put your game at full screen. There you go. Go to your settings. Press go over one. Yep, one to full screen. Keep changes. Wait, did that unstretch your game?
Huh?
Did that unstretch your game?
No. It's just.
It looks the same?
Huh?
It looks the same?
No.
What do you
It
mean
doesn't
no?
look the same. It's stretched. I'm gonna go.
No,
in
I'm saying
YouTube.
yeah. It looks the same as how it looks stretched though. Not like
Yeah.
it looks the same as it did before.
Yeah.
Okay, alright.
Let's see.
I'm gonna catch you because I'm playing ranked and I'm live right now.
Oh, nice.
Alright, peace, bro.
Alright, peace, bro. Yo, it's so freaking stretched, chat. This game is so stretched. Honestly, I actually like it this stretch. Dude, I'm about to do even more. Like, bro, it's so stretched. I've never really played Stretch Res. Like, this is my probably first time doing it. Nah, I actually dig this Stretch Res, bro. I'm about to hop into a game, see how it feels. Yo. Bro, it's so freaking stretched, chat. Oh my god, bro. I still can't get over how stretched it is. It's so weird. Time to see how I play. I actually like this better because it looks better. It's not like... It's not... It doesn't look bad. It's absolutely amazing how good this looks. For a, like, freaking 30... I don't even know how big my monitor is, but whew. And I loaded into build, or no build, but I thought it was gonna be looking terrible. Everything good now. I don't got the yellow bars all around my screen. I'm so close to elite. Why are the queue times so long? Let's do this, man. I'll probably do more stretch, honestly. No, I'll look up some stretch res. I'll be back, chat. Hold on. I'll be back. Alright guys, I'm gonna end stream. I'm gonna play with some friends, and since they can't be on stream, I can't stream playing with them, so I'm gonna end stream. I should be live again maybe tomorrow, depends. It really just depends if it's a possibility. So yeah, I'm ending stream. I hope y'all have a great rest of y'all's day. I'm out. Make sure y'all follow, turn on notifications. I'm out. Peace.